Hello, good people of the internet. Let's see if the stream is working as intended, which it seems to be. So let me just quickly post the link on the Discord and then we can get going. So let me swap back to the YouTube dashboard. And here let's go to the animator, and here is our Mech assembly asset that we have built some time ago. You can see it here, and today basically what we're gonna try to do is finishing the animation of the arm that's putting the whole mech or the robot together. So I have done a couple of keyframes already. If we go to the build 01, let me see. Okay, so here you can see the parts being laid out, and then if we press play, we have a couple of seconds of the animation already done. So let's see how far we get. So I think we can grab it somewhere from here. And then at the 5 seconds, this moves downwards. And then we also have the pull up animation, although this one seems a little bit short. Well, let's see. So I guess we can move our zoom area a little bit to the right, so we have some more room to work with. And then also I think we can, let's see what's here. So basically all of the arm is gonna be stationary up to this point. So here we can create another keyframe for all of the nodes. So when they get moved here, they're gonna start from the same point. So if we didn't do this, then it would kind of get weird with some interpolation and stuff. So let me just try to kind of see how long this movement here lasts. So this is what, half a second, and then another half to extend it. So let's see, this is at half. So at the end of the 6th second, our leg should be at the mirror of this coordinate, so 36 and -8. So this is already as it's supposed to be. Let's just move this one to 36. So this is kind of our ending coordinate. So okay, so here it moves up and then to the right. So that looks about right. And then we need to animate the arm as well. So let's see, how do we want to do that? I guess it would be easiest if we were to just do it here, and then we're gonna maybe need to smooth out some stuff, but we'll see about that a little bit later. So let's see. I guess we can unrotate all of these parts. So let's put you to 90 degrees, and then let's do it here at 0, like this. And then let's also unrotate this link. So let's move this to 0, and then here to 0 as well. So we have a straight line going down there. And then let's do the same thing here. So this is basically at 360, and then let's, come on. Okay. And we managed to get it done. And then also I think we need to move this arm link a little bit upwards, because otherwise the whole arm is too long. So I think we can move this to 0. And then let's just try to move this node a little bit to the right, so it's centered around this leg. And then we can move the whole thing a little bit forwards, or like towards us. And I'm just hoping, okay, so yeah, I think it should be centered right, hopefully. So let's see where it's being grabbed actually on the other leg. So, okay, just a little bit behind this green detail part. So let's move it to the right a little bit further. Like, nope, that's a little bit too much. So 28, we can move it backwards a little bit. Yeah, something like this. So, and then arm side. So it's moving slowly forwards all the way. So we basically don't want that to happen. I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. So we can see that it's at 10 and now it's slowly moving forwards all the way until it reaches 26. But we want the movement to start at this keyframe. So let's just move it backwards to 10. And then at this keyframe, it's gonna start moving actually. And I guess we can create another keyframe for this slide part, even though we're not moving it, just to kind of keep it nice and simple. And now we can create the keyframes for all of the rest of the nodes, just so we have everything as it's supposed to be, like this. And then we need to basically next half a second we need to rotate this top part by probably 5 or 10 degrees. Let's check it out here. 105, so 15 degrees actually. So let's see if we were to grab this. So up to the 6 seconds, it's not really supposed to be moving, but then from 6 to 6.5, we need to rotate it by 15 degrees, so to 105, like that. And then of course we need to do something similar with the arm, so it's kind of pulling it backwards. So let's move it backwards a little bit. And then we could also add a little bit of rotation, I guess. So maybe we can have this rotated a little bit. Something like that. And then maybe we can move this whole thing 1 voxel or 2 voxels backwards as well. Something like that. So let's see what our animation looks like right now. So let's go to the first keyframe and press play. So here it picks the first leg and then the second leg. So that's what we got right now. And let me just try to grab this here. And then it's kind of important that we do keyframes for all of the children, otherwise we're gonna have some unwanted movement in between the frames. Okay, so next thing that we want to do is to actually attach these like thighs, maybe could be called. So in that case, maybe it would make sense for us to first grab this one because it's the closer one. So let's see, I guess in the next half a second I would kind of wanna return this arm into, or we can even split this in two. So maybe we can do 1/4 of a second, so it kind of returns into a neutral position, and then the next quarter, so it kind of positions itself like next to this. So let's see. We have keyframes for all of the nodes, which is good. And then let's see, let's move this backwards to maybe -24, and then we can unrotate this part. So it's at 0 degrees rotation, and then all of the rest are probably already as they are supposed to be. So this is at 0, this is at 0, and we don't really have any kind of rotation, so there's that mostly. So let's create the keyframes, and then let's move on to the next part, where we kind of try to position this directly above this part. So let's see. Well, I need to move this to the left. Something like this. And then let's try to rotate this a little bit to the left as well from our perspective. Something like that. And then maybe we can try to gradually change this to a vertical grab, something like this. And now we also have an option to extend this link outwards, just to kind of move it a little bit closer. So okay, let's see. Maybe we can rotate this by another 5 degrees, and then rotate this backwards to kind of negate that. And here you can see we basically have, come on, we almost have it like center down here. Maybe we can move the whole thing a little bit backwards as well, just so we kind of grab it at the middle part. So let's maybe move it to -32. So now we have our arm positioned, and then in the next section we can just move this down, grab it, and move it upwards. So let's add the keyframes like that. And then I guess we can do this pretty quickly. So we don't have much movement going on. Like, it just needs to move downwards. So let's move this downwards by a bit, so like 18 maybe. And then I guess we could also kind of move these fingers or grabbing parts a little bit closer together, so it's not as much empty space in between. So let's maybe move this to -1, and then this one to -1 as well, or like to 0, because they aren't like perfectly symmetric. But yeah, maybe in that case we could kind of help it out a little bit if we were to move this to 31 or something like that. Just so when we have our stuff extended, it might be... Wait, what? Why is this? That's interesting. So, come on. Now we got stuck in this thing. So let's see. Let's move this to -1, just so we have everything symmetric. And then let's try to position this in a way that it kind of works. So at 34, I think this looks good. And then let's move this to 34 as well, just like that. So we move it here, we grab it. Now let's add our keyframes. And then we're gonna need to make a little bit longer move, because now we can just like compress it together, because our arm is too long, so we're gonna actually have to move it like from a backside or something like that. So for that I think we can have a little bit longer runway. So here what we're gonna do, let's see. Actually, we can like make it into these smaller movements. So maybe we can pull this inwards first. So this goes to 0. So that's 18, and then this would need to move to, wait a second. So from 4, that's 22. If we move this one by 18 voxels upwards. And then let's see how we want to do that. And then maybe we can move it towards the back as well. And here you can see our little problem, that we didn't create the keyframe for the Mech thigh, so it's gonna move slowly all the way through the animation. So let's go ahead and try to fix that. So first we can make all of our keyframes here, and then at this point in time we can also put this back down to 4, so it actually starts moving when this part starts contracting like this. Okay, that's better. And then in this time we can also move it maybe a little bit backwards. So 52, maybe we can move it to 60 or something like that, or even a little bit more. So 52, 62, maybe 72. We have like some room to work with. And then let's move this backwards by 20 as well. So it should be at 52, right? So like that. And then let's also add the keyframes. So it grabs, moves, corrects. Then this is pulled up and backwards. And then in the next half of a second, I think we wanna try to position this so that it can be put onto the leg. And then I'm gonna have to check out the idle first, so we can kind of see the coordinates. So maybe if we were to unrotate this, so let's see, this is at 90 degrees, and then we have it 10, 106 and 36. 10, 106 and 36. Let's see if we can do that. So this is 106. Then we need to kind of center that, and then this one is at 10, right? And then 36, I think. So this is centered now. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of the end position that we wanna get to. And now we just need to figure out how we wanna move the arm so it kind of places it here. So maybe, oh come on, Avast. So maybe let's try to center this a little bit, and then we can try to unrotate this part. So it's at 90 degrees. This one is at 0 then. And then this can be moved inwards, right? So let's move this to 0. Let's unrotate this part. So basically we're gonna need to artificially make it a little bit shorter. And then it also will have to be like rotated forwards, so kind of trying to think how to do that so the transition won't look too weird. So basically what we know is that we want to rotate this a little bit forwards, and then maybe we can rotate this a little bit backwards. Just let me play around with it for a moment. So this one is 15 degrees backwards, this one kind of negates that rotation, and then this one is 15 degrees forwards. And then maybe we can even rotate this part a little bit, although we'll see about that. So maybe we can try to do it with like a 30 degrees angle, so 330, and then this one at 330 as well. So maybe we can rotate this even further, and then we can rotate maybe this one. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's move this one a little bit backwards, and then we could also try to extend some of this stuff. We'll see about that. So okay, maybe we can do something like that, and then okay, this looks about right from the height perspective, and then maybe we can extend this a little bit forwards. So we get something like this, and then also we're gonna need to move the first link to the right. Okay, we can move it a little bit further, I think. Let's try another voxel. So we got 72. Okay. So let me just kind of see what we managed to get here. So we grab this part. Oops. What am I doing? Come on. Okay. Let me grab this. So I'm not really sure if this is like the best way to do it. So perhaps we're gonna try to do it a little bit differently. I think I would like to move these forwards actually. So maybe to something like 64. Like that. And then I think we can maybe do let's see, we can rotate this probably by like 90 degrees, something like that. Then let's make this a little bit smaller rotation, something like that, and then maybe this can be rotated the other way, like that. Okay. But now this would need to be pushed even further to the right, right? So something like that even. So let's see what this looks like. So here it grabs it. Okay, and then it's kind of placed there. So let me just place the keyframes, and then we can kind of try to help it move. So now if we look at this thigh part, it just moves like in a straight line, and basically just at this point and at this point they're kind of matched together. So maybe we can try to make its movement fit this hand a little bit better. So now we're gonna try to readjust it here so it's kind of centered like this. And now if we look at it, maybe here it's a little bit off, but it has more points where it's like aligned with the whole arm movement. And then maybe we can make like 2 additional keyframes, like one here at the half and then another one here, just to help it smooth out a little bit further. So like that, and then let's move this to the left. So now when we look at it, it moves a little bit better, the arm. And now we need to do like the rotating part here. So for that I think we can do that in like a quarter of a second. And let me just kind of check what the rotation here is. So rotation 50 degrees, or actually it's 40 degrees because we're rotating from 90 to 50. So next thing that we want to do is then rotating this to 50 degrees like that. And now we need to readjust the arm positioning as well. So let's see. So I guess we can try to move this as further forwards as possible. So that's 80. And then let's try to rotate this part by a little bit. Then that part, something like that. And then we can extend this further outwards. And then let's rotate this hand part inwards so it kind of matches our alignment of the leg. So there's that. And then I guess we would need to extend this even a little bit further, just so it's kind of at the center of it. So let's try to check out this transition. So here it's grabbed and then kind of pushed forwards. Okay, let's add a couple of keyframes now, just so we don't get our stuff mixed up. And then I guess we can do a little bit longer movement, so maybe half a second again, so it positions, well, half a second so it gets to the like a neutral spot, and then maybe at the 9th second it can try to center above this thigh part. So let's see. So one thing that I would like to do in this movement would be to retract the arm to like 0. And actually we can split this in two movements. So one would be the shortening of the arm, and then moving this base part further to the right from our perspective. And then also I think I would like to move everything a little bit backwards, so maybe 20. And also let's squeeze everything into a little bit shorter movement, like that. So let's see. Okay, and then in next quarter of a second, we would like to kind of undo all of these rotations and stuff. So let's move it here, rotate this to 0 as well, and then here, and then let's unrotate this part also, like that. And then this can be moved a little bit to the right again. So let me just save and kind of check out this animation. So it kind of really speeds up at these parts. So maybe we could make everything a little bit longer. So let's make at least these two keyframes a little bit extended, just so we don't make everything move too fast. So let's see. I want to move this to here, then this one, this one. And I guess some of these can kind of mix a little bit, just so they kind of blend together. And maybe this movement can be extended to the 9th second, something like that. Let me just check this out. So I think the rotating part here can be made a little bit longer, like that. Okay. And now we need to get to this, the last thigh part, I guess. So let me grab this parent and create the keyframes, and then in next half of a second, which is up to here, we're gonna try to position it like vertically above the last thigh part, so something like this. We can move this all the way to the right. Well, we'll see about that. First, let's try to get our rotations in order, just so we can have that kind of positioned as it's supposed to be. So this is rotated by, let's do it by, come on, by 25 degrees. And then this one can be 10, and then this one can be 15. Just so we have a little bit different rotations, so we can maybe adjust a little bit our placements. So Now I guess we can kind of test out if this would work by extending this outwards. And also what we kind of forgot here was to open the fingers, right? So let's delete these keyframes, and then up to this point the finger should be at the position 3. So outwards and outwards like that. And then we can add the keyframes like this. Okay, now let's see how this is positioned here. So we can move it to the right a little bit. So, and also we would need to move it downwards because now we have like some empty space here. So let's try to extend this by some voxels. Now it kind of looks, I guess, let's move it backwards a little bit, just so we can see a little bit better what's going on. Okay. Now let's move this backwards by maybe 2 voxels. Still a little bit of an offset, but nothing too horrible. So maybe what we could do would be to, maybe we could rotate this part by like 5 degrees, and this one by 5 degrees, or by 10 degrees. No, that's not gonna work. So let me try to move this inwards by a little bit more, to maybe like 14. So this looks about right. Just a little bit too much towards the back, so let's grab this one and then let's move it forwards by a couple of voxels. So maybe something like that, maybe a little bit further. Yeah, no, it kind of looks fine. So there's that as far as that's concerned, and then let's create another keyframe. Okay. And then until the 10th second we can just move this downwards to something like this. And then let's also move the fingers inwards, so they're at -1, like this, and like that. Cool. Let's save everything, because in case VoxEdit crashes, we're gonna lose a bunch of our keyframes, so let's try to not do that. And then let's maybe take like 1/4 of a second to move this part upwards. So I think we want to do it to 10, right? Okay, at 10 we have our last keyframes, so let's add them for all the parts. And then here we're gonna basically just retract this to 0. And then let's move this one by like 22 or something like that. So let me double check. So 38, so this needs to move to 42 actually, just so it kind of matches the movement of the arm. And then we can take like a little bit longer route for this one. So it gets attached at 11 seconds. Then let's, I think this is at 10 if I'm not mistaken. And then this is at 110 or something like that. And then this needs to be moved a little bit further inwards as well. So this is at 36, so that's centered. And then just the vertical, I think we were at 106, is that correct? Let me just reset the rotation. Yeah, it's at 106, so this should be all fine. And then we can kind of check it out, what our so we were like at the so our like this top bar was positioned at the front part, so let's do it again. So I think that's at 80, like this. And then let's also undo all of the rotations. So 90, this one is gonna be at 0. And also, what's this part? Arm link 3. So we'll see some of these movements can be made a little bit shorter, but not all of them have to. So let's move this to 0 as well. So we have it laid out kind of like this. And then I guess we're gonna need to rotate this one by like 85 degrees. And then these two will need to kind of compensate for that. So we end up with something like that. And then 10 or 15 degrees backwards. And then we can also so let's see here. Wait a second. We messed up somewhere, didn't we? Yeah, we didn't make our keyframes. Okay, my bad. Let's see. So all of this stuff needs to be moved a little bit further down the road. And then also, what's this? Oh my god. So let's see, we move it down here. Okay. And then we need to move this upwards. So let me just shorten this part a little bit. So we need to move it to 0. Okay, now we're going to this position here that we have. So hopefully everything now works and looks as it's supposed to. So now let's try to move this to the left so we can kind of have it centered around our thigh part. And then I think this is a little bit too short, so how can we fix that? Maybe we can extend this part a little bit forwards, like that. Okay. So it picks it up, it moves it here. And then we can also do like some minor tweaks at how the thigh is moving, so it's following the arm a little bit more closely. So I guess we can do our first corrections at these major ticks. So let's see here, we can move it downwards a little bit, and then maybe a little bit towards the back, like that. And then we can do another one here. So let's move it downwards a little bit and then towards the right. We can do like another voxel or two. We have some space. Okay. And then we can split this in half again, just to do some minor corrections, maybe like 1 or 2 voxels downwards and then 1 towards the back, or not, something like that. And then here we can move it downwards a little bit again and towards the back, like that. And then another one here. Let's see, why is this part like weird? Because I don't think we have done any... Oh, we have done some rotation here. That's not good. So let's try to get this to something like 0. Now let's just reset the rotation. Oh my gosh, what's going on? And we're not doing it even at the appropriate keyframe. Okay, let's move it to the back. What the heck? And this is also being rotated or something? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so let's see. When we move this arm here, I think this needs to be at 0 rotation. Okay, and these are all at 0 rotation, so hopefully that's gonna work. And I guess now we need to move this a little bit towards the left, like that. So we have our stuff centered. And then let's see kind of how our keyframes went. Okay, and here now we can kind of go ahead and check these keyframes for the thigh part as well. So right now it looks pretty fine. And then the next one, it can be moved upwards a little bit, like this. So at the first one, okay, it's half of it like sticking out. So something like that. And then this can be moved upwards by a little bit. And then this one also, I guess. And then here, 1 voxel upwards. And then I guess we can split this in half as well. And we're kind of getting this weird thingy again. So maybe we can just move this a little bit to the left, just so we don't get the Z fighting. And then let's move it maybe downwards a little bit. And then our last position. So let's maybe view it from the right, and then we can kind of see how this is being moved. And then we have like half a second that we can use to rotate this thigh part. So we need to get from 90 to 50 degrees, like so. And then here we would want to have our nodes positioned into something more like, come on, we can unrotate this a little bit, or not actually. Let's see, maybe we can just do it with something like this. Let's rotate this backwards. And then let's extend this outwards a little bit, something like that. And that's a little bit too much. So let's see. Okay, this might be better. Let's hope so. Okay, I guess. And then if we move this downwards a little bit. Yeah, maybe this could work. Yeah, maybe some of these parts are not like ideal, but yeah, we're gonna need to make some compromises on this unless we want this to be like 30 hours long animation making. So now we have that, and then we're gonna need to grab the crotch part, but before that we need to kind of return into the neutral position. So I guess we can do like a really quick move of this part contracting inwards, but first let's just add our keyframes, just so we don't get any unwanted interference, and then let's also save our data, just so we don't lose it. Okay, now let's retract this inwards, and then maybe we can move this, yeah, let's move it by the 2 voxels that we have, and then let's also unrotate this part, or like for the most part, just so it can be moved a little bit more easily. Also, let's see. Yeah, there's something not right. We're okay. Let's see. This is at 2, right? Okay. So we actually need to do our keyframes here. Let's not interfere with what we have already created. That would be kind of stupid, I guess. So maybe something a little bit like this can be just this quick movement, and then the rest can be like a little bit slower. So let's give it like half a second for the rest of it. So let's move this backwards. Oops, that's the wrong node. So to something like -8 maybe. And then let's make sure we don't have any unwanted rotations there. So let's rotate this inwards. So we have our neutral positions, and then this one at 0 as well. then this one, and then also we need to extend the fingers outwards at some point. So I guess we're gonna do that right now. Okay, this can be moved a little bit further to the back, just so it doesn't interfere with our legs, and then we can move this towards the center as well. And then also I guess we can move our fingers, so, or the arm's fingers, so let's move this one to 3, and then this one to 3 as well. Cool. Let's see. Let's add some keyframes. Let's check out our animation so far. Okay, so one thing that I'm kind of not too happy about is how this arm is like transitioning here. So I think we can move this a little bit forwards, just so we can do some stuff like this, and then these are also already being moved, so maybe some of this can be a little bit blended together. Just so the motion looks a little bit smoother. Okay, and then we have it moving backwards, and now we need to grab like this crotch part. So let's see, we can have half a second, and let's move this all the way to the back, so to minus 80. Minus 80, okay. And then we can move this a little bit towards the left as well, so to maybe something like 90. Then we can rotate our stuff a little bit, so maybe 20 degrees here, and also we can view this from the back side, just so we get a little bit better view at what's going on. So let's see, we have, let's do this to 25, and then this one is 10 degrees, and then this one is going to be 15 degrees, like so. So this is vertical again, and then I guess we're gonna try to extend this downwards, like so. Yeah. So that's too short, definitely. Let's try to extend this outwards as well. So 42, and then we can try to kind of center it by moving this part a little bit towards the left, so this should be about right. But then we would also need to rotate the whole arm like a little bit backwards, so it's able to grab this stuff. So let's see, how do we want to do that? So let's try to rotate this by like 2. And then let's unrotate it here by 2. Something like that, I guess. Maybe we can do like another one, 3, and then let's undo the rotation here. like that. And then let's extend these fingers outwards just so they can grab our platform. And for some reason something is still being like rotated a little bit, so I guess we're gonna need to fix that in our next like movement. So let me just add the keyframes here, and then we're gonna move this upwards. So let's move these to, I don't know, something like that. We're gonna see about that, and also before we do that, let's not forget adding a keyframe here, just so it doesn't start moving before we actually want it to move. So let's retract this inwards to 0, and then also here. Come on. Okay, we got it. And also let's see about these rotations. So I think this one needs to be like 0, and then this one also, just so we have a straight line here from the side. And now we can position our middle part in between these fingers. So let's try to center it in, something like this. Do we have Suzy fighting? For some reason we don't. Okay, that's good. I'm not sure why exactly, but I'll take it. Okay. And then we're gonna need to put it like in between the legs, but first I guess we can try to kind of check out if the positions match as they are supposed to. So here we have one here, and then it can be a little bit lower here. So that hopefully looks smooth. And now let's add the keyframes at the end of this movement. And then our like final position will have to be, let me just check it out real quickly, will be at 16.4. That's an interesting position. So 143 and 16.4. So 143 and then 16.4. Let's see. 16.4 and then at 0 here, so it's centered. Okay. Let's see, how do we want to move our arm now? So it gets here, and also we can zoom in a little bit here. So I guess first thing, wait, what? Okay, we had the wrong position again, my bad. So this is where we are basically. And then actually where we want to go would be, so a little bit longer movement, but now we can try to move it again to the appropriate location. So I think we had mentioned it as as 16.4, like that, and then 0, and then upwards to 143, like that. Okay, And now let's try to position our arm. So first we can just kind of undo the rotations, so it's a little bit easier to work with it, hopefully. And then I guess we can move it forwards a little bit, just so we have like some general movement, like here. And then let's rotate this top part a little bit forwards to something like that. And then we can rotate this backwards. Okay, I guess. And then let me just check some of these rotations. I mean, is this a straight line? I think it should be, right? So I guess we're just gonna have to move this a little bit to the right, just so we have it centered. And then we're gonna need to rotate this upwards a little bit, and then this one downwards a little bit. So come on, let's see, something like that, something like this, but now it's too far forwards, so I guess we're gonna need to move this a little bit further back. Oh no, that's the wrong that's the wrong side. So something like that, I guess. So let's see. I guess it would also kind of make sense if we were to first position it a little bit higher up, and then we would kind of extend it downwards. Let's see. Yeah, that would kind of make more sense. So let me think for a second. I think we should do. I think we should rotate this a little bit further upwards. So something like this. So now we can create like a 90 degrees angle here with something like that. Okay. And then let me see how do we want to do that. So this is gonna be definitely our last position. So okay, I have no idea why this keeps moving. So 16.4 and 143. So we want to have it actually here. Okay, and apparently, wait, what? Sure. Okay. I don't know why that works like that. But basically, when we get to here, I think I would just like to extend this downwards. Like so. And now we just need to kind of figure out where to put in the rest of the stuff. And also, of course, the arm link shouldn't be moving up to this point. So let's add a keyframe first, and then let's extend it downwards a little bit further. So maybe 22, like that. Okay, cool. Now we need to figure out like our crotch movement. So can we get like some idea where we're grabbing it? So yeah, a little bit more space on the back side than on the front. So I guess we can do some correcting at these bigger ticks first, so something like this maybe. And then another one would be like here. Yeah, it's gonna unfortunately collide a little bit with our legs, but hopefully the movement will be fast enough so it's not really too apparent. So something like that. And then why is this so much to the right? Just don't get it. So something like this, and then I guess we can move it upwards a little bit as well. That, and then it's kind of moved downwards. Okay, I guess this kind of looks all right. Let me just kind of double check these positions here. I mean, yeah, we're gonna need to try to fix it a little bit at least. So at least we see the fingers on both sides. I think that's like the bare minimum on what we want to do here. And I'm still not 100% sure why they appear like they're quite rotated, but okay, maybe we actually no, that's all right, but something else is rotated. This one maybe. Yeah, who would know? There's definitely some weird stuff going on. I'm just not 100% sure how to fix it. So I guess we're just gonna do it incrementally, and then hopefully after that we can get done with it. So like this, and now let's add finishing keyframes to all of this stuff. And then the last thing that we need to move is the cabin. So now I guess we kind of want to like make sure that everything is rotated as it's supposed to be. So first let's move this inwards. And then I guess I'm just gonna be double checking all of the rotations and just resetting most of them. So that can be reset for now. And then here can start resetting that a little bit. And just moving it something like this. So this isn't rotated, that doesn't seem to be. Interesting. So now I guess we can add another keyframe. Next thing that we want to do, this one. So these two are like moved in as much as they can be. We can move this closer, so they're at 3, which is the default like width. Although we might not need to. Well, we can move through the like the default state. But now I'm kind of wondering what would be the best way to kind of position or rotate our arm like around so it would get to the cabin. So let's see what kinds of movements we have done here. So we could do some rotation as well. So maybe we can rotate it around a little bit. Let's not do too much on just one link, just so we can have like some smoother movements. Like so. So I guess we're gonna add a keyframe here. And then for the next part, I think I would like to move this backwards a little bit. And then we're gonna move this whole thing a little bit forwards. So something like this. Then let's try to kind of do some rotations already. Okay, so we'll see how that turns out. And now I think we can make our keyframes, and then let's kind of finish our movement around the legs. So this needs to go like backwards, and then of course you're gonna reset this rotation. And also, wait a sec. How is this being rotated? Why is this not being changed? Interesting. So let's try to put this at 0. Let's actually try to reset all of these rotations. So got something like that. And then this one is kind of bugging me a little bit. So maybe let's try to reset this rotation as well. And then we're just gonna move it nicely to 90 degrees. So, okay. Okay. So I guess we can do something like this, and then let's move this further towards the back. So we can have it at like 70. And then let's try to kind of realign, oh come on, some of these rotations, so they kind of so we can kind of grab our cabin further at the center. So maybe we can do something like this, and then we can also extend this link a little bit outwards. And now we're gonna actually, let's not extend it as much, and we can also center it here like that. So that's gonna be more or less our keyframes for this part, and then we're gonna move this even further outwards, so we can grab our cabin, and then at this movement we're also gonna spread these fingers a little bit outwards, just so they can fit the width of this part. Okay, let's add the other keyframe. So let me just kind of check. We grab this one, put it down, then we try to rotate around and grab the cabin. And now I guess we're gonna need to drag our cabin upwards and also kind of center it. So first let me drag this inwards. So we're gonna lift our cabin off the ground. And also before we do that, let me check where it kind of connects with the cabin. So, and also let me add the keyframe to the cabin. So when it's being moved around, it's not like it doesn't start moving too soon, basically. And here we have some issues with our pillars because they're blocking our view a little bit. So let's move this upwards. Then also let's move it forwards a bit. So something like that. Let me check it out. So we grab it here. And then we're gonna need to put it on there somehow. And I think that while we're at it, we can move this backwards to 80. Not 81, but 80. And then we can move this also by 10 backwards. So we're at -128. Okay, and then now we're gonna need to create some rotating movement, I guess, with our arm. And also, actually, first let's try to position everything to the center. So I actually have no idea where the center of this is. Maybe we can start with that one. So let's move this to 0. Come on. Come on. Okay, I guess we can do it here. So this is at 0. And now we can move this to the 0 as well. Well, to the 0, to like a appropriate position that is relative to the placement of our cabin, like that. Okay. Let me add the keyframes. Let me also save. And then let me check in the idle what the coordinates are. So 24 and 155. So when we move this outwards, I guess the final position will need to be at, and I have already forgotten, I think it was 24 and then 155, something like that. 24 and 155, okay. And before we get to that, I think I would like to have it a little bit higher, so 24 and then maybe 160 or 165, just so we can like put it down from here. And I guess now we can kind of try to work with our arm, how it should be positioned, so we can get to this point. So let's rotate this by 90 degrees, so to 70. And then actually what we might be able to do to be something like that if yeah, we might need to extend this upwards a little bit just so we can get our hand in here. So like this. I guess this can be moved a little bit forwards also. So maybe to 32. So we need to make it even a little bit longer still, something like that. Yeah, I think that looks kind of all right. And of course we should have done that on the appropriate keyframe. So like this. And then when we move this downwards to its final position, we can rotate this downwards a little bit, and then this outwards. That's basically more or less it, right? So, and then we're gonna need to figure out how to move this so it doesn't intersect with the crotch and everything. So actually from that aspect it might be even a little bit easier if this frame was a little bit further to the right. So let's try to move all of this. So it was at 104. So maybe if we move everything by 20 voxels to the left, it might already help a little bit. But then we're gonna also need to create like a middle point for the cabin. So it's moved like diagonally to some point over here. So maybe here it can be like moved to some kind of position around here. So if we look at it from the back, it's being dragged there, and then to the left. So it hopefully doesn't intersect with anything, or at least as little as possible. And then like that, and then downwards. Okay, now we just need to kind of figure out how our arm should be moving to accommodate this. So to get to this point, we're gonna need to make it a little bit shorter. So let's put this to 270. So we're first kind of trying to eye the to get the like positioning from the side, and then we'll see how we can do something else. And this is gonna need to be moved even further upwards, and then also to the right. And also I guess we can make the keyframes like where we have these positions. So here let's add the keyframes, here let's add the keyframes, and then here let's add the keyframes like that. And then at the end, let's also add some keyframes. Okay, so this is being dragged up and then towards the right. So I think this should be mostly done through rotation. Something like that. Then also I guess we can rotate this by a little bit. Then we kind of need to undo all of that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, something like that, I guess. Oops. And then let's put this downwards. So I guess something like this. Of course we can move the cabin also to kind of make the whole thing a little bit easier for us, just so we don't need to constantly move all of the nodes. So something like that. And then the next keyframe would have to be further towards the right. Guess we could move this a little bit. And then let's also try to get rid of as many Y rotations as possible. So actually this looks kind of fine, actually, to be completely honest. That's a little bit too long, but hey. And also, okay, and then let's get rid of this keyframe because it resets us backwards otherwise. Yeah, this looks kind of cool, actually. I think this looks mostly fine, hopefully. Let me save, and then I guess we can try to play this animation. Yeah, okay. We're gonna need to do a little bit smoothing out for this cabin movement, but the major keyframes are like working the way that I wanted them to. And then also at the end we can kind of return the arm into like the starting position. That's right here. So that's like a couple of minor things that we can still do a little bit later, but I think for today that's gonna be it for the stream. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we see each other some next time, and until then, bye bye.